Hello year one and welcome to your maths learning for today. It is Thursday the 4th of March 2021. So your retrieval of your recap of learning is can you write your numbers to 40? So this grid here with the numbers on is to support you. So have a try at writing those numbers yourself and then almost use that to double check. Okay, and then just to see if your formation is correct and your numbers the right way round. Then as always move on to your calendar, so your days of the week and your months of the year. Remember the season, that's your new question that I've popped in there for the last few weeks. And then what we are learning today. So we are learning to use arrays to solve division calculations. So arrays are just the use of our crosses in a certain way, so in a particular representation. So I will model that a bit like we did yesterday. And then you're solving division calculations. So division just means that we are sharing into equal groups. Okay, and calculations just means our number sentence. Okay, so how can we be successful? I've talked you through that. So today we are building on yesterday's learning, so following the same thing, and I'll model a little bit to you, but the numbers are going to get slightly bigger and the amount of groups you are dividing between will get bigger as well. There'll be more groups. So instead of dividing between 2 or 3, it might be 6. Okay. So applying the same skills but to slightly bigger numbers and dividing between more groups. So recap, what do you remember about division? What do you know? So what is it and what does it mean? And then the next slide I'll reveal that. So pause as and when you need to. Division is breaking a number into an equal number of parts. Okay, that's really important, that equal part there. So there are some division calculations on the next few slides. Can you work them out using arrays? You can also use objects such as counters or cubes, or like we said at home, house objects, so things around your house, to support you. After you've used those objects, please represent it and then draw it, your jottings using the crosses, the arrays. So steps to follow to support you. Make sure you read the calculation. That's really important. Look at how many objects you need. So really read that calculation so you know how many objects you need, but also how many groups you need to share that number between. Okay, so what is the whole number that you're sharing out and how many you're sharing it between, basically, or dividing it between. And then make sure that you share between each group equally. So make sure you go from one group to the next and then go back. Okay, just because it's more accurate, so you don't get lost or confused, as I showed you in yesterday's. So as you can see, we've got here the number sense. The calculation is 10 divided by 5. Okay, so our whole number is the 10, and we are sharing the 10. We are dividing it between 5 groups. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that again on the whiteboards to support you. Just for the lights, a bit reflective there. So your 10 divided by 5. My pen works, is the same as. So what we need to do then, like I said, you can always draw the groups out and then share if you find that easier, or you can go straight into doing your crosses, because you should keep them in what we call like an array, so in a particular representation. So if they're in a correct order, one after the other, then it's easier to see. You won't need to group. So I'll show you what I mean. That makes sense. So if I'm doing 10 divided by 5, I can make my 5 already just by doing the crosses across the top. So I can do my 1, my 2, my 3, my 4, my 5. So I've already created 5 groups. So all I need to do underneath these groups is continue sharing out that number till I get to the number 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that's basically my representation, my array. As you can see, it always makes like a bit of a grid, which will support you with your multiplications, which we'll be doing over the next few weeks. But you'll be back to school for that. And then what we can do is you can circle after. You can use the same pen, or you can use a different coloured pen, whatever works for you. My pen does not work for me at the moment at all, so sorry about that. It's really hard to see. And then I just count how many's in each group. Now I've circled them. So I count, there's 1, 2 here. I might not even need to count. I'll just be able to recognise that there's 2. Just going to get another pen. There we go. So 2, that's better. 2, 2, 2, and 2. So each group or each person has 2 sweets each, 2 biscuits each, whatever you would like those crosses to represent. Okay. So the answer is 2. That's how many everybody's got each. So that's just one example. I won't go through all of these slides because obviously I want you to have a try on your own. So here, again, the number's getting slightly bigger. But the number that you're sharing between, okay, the amount of groups is also bigger. So that's where the challenge is coming in. So let's try this one. And while I'm doing that, you can have a think and see if you can read that calculation and what we need to do. So this time, or should we choose a more challenging one? Let's go with this one. Okay, let's try 15 divided by 5. Yes. If I do 15 divided by 5, okay, my whole number is the 15 and I'm dividing it between 5 people. So I've got 15 sweets shared between 5 people, okay? So you can draw the people at the top to help you. You can have 5 people if you want to draw 5 stick people, if that helps you to work the calculation out, or you can go straight into it, which some of you will be able to do. So I'm going to go straight into it. So I know that I'm sharing between 5, so I can start my counting. So I've got 1 group, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've already done my first 5. So I'm going to carry on counting from 5, counting on 5, keep going to 15. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Am I finished? Hopefully you're shouting at me and saying no. I need to get to 15. So I've got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stop there, okay? Again, this is what an array is. So I've created an array, but we are going to circle the groups to see how many we have got, okay, in each group. Which, again, if you have really good multiplication knowledge, you will know what 15 divided by 5 is, because you might be able to count in your 5s, which I'll show you that in a minute. But first of all, let's finish this before I get ahead of myself. So I would circle my groups after, if you feel that you need to do that. And then we need to count how many's in each group. So you might be able to just recognise that there's 3 there without counting. 1, 2, 3. And then if it helps you, again, this is an option. You can write the number underneath. You don't have to do that bit if you can see what the number is. And then in here, in your after your equal symbol, you're the same as, the answer is 3. Now this is where it's interesting, because if you are great with your multiplication or your times tables, you would know that if I count in 5s to 15, 5, 10, 15. If I do 5 times 3, my answer is 15. So that's, again, using that number knowledge, like we do with addition and subtraction. Do you remember we looked at the number facts? Okay, addition and subtraction and moving the numbers around within the number sentence. So that's where you can almost push yourself and fly high further. That you can then write the number sentence as 5 times 3 equals 15. Okay, that is really tricky to get your head round, but it's something if some of you want to challenge yourselves further. Now remember, I've gone through and I've shared between 5, but this changes. Here we've got 18 divided by 6, 16 divided by 4, so the groups change. So be careful when you are working these out. So make sure, like I said, read that calculation. So if you can work your way through those, there is a nice fly high challenge there for you, a little word problem, which will support you with Friday, where we're looking at using arrays to help us with word problems. Okay. And then there is a few more fly high questions just to prompt your thinking, like we have through the week, about odd and even numbers, about when we halve a number. And then at the very, very end, it's to talk about or discuss what you have learned about division, rounding up the learning from your lesson, and think about those arrays that you've created. Possibly think about your number facts. Okay. And then, as always, please share your learning with us on the parent support email. If you have any questions there for that as well, we're here to support you, your parents at home, and you with your learning. Okay, so have a try. If you've got any questions, or you want to send us your work for us to look at as well, then please do. Thank you, and see you again tomorrow.